Ladies and gentlemen, our musical director, Jack Leon.
My sweet children, shall we continue our story of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol? The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night in an easterly wind upon his own ramparts than there would be in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard, for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Scrooge.
Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clerk, the clergyman, the undertaker, and by his only mourner, his business partner, Ebenezer Scrooge. Marley was as dead as a doornail. This must be clearly understood, or you will find nothing of wonder in our story.
Bah! Humbug! Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheeks, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty crust was on his head, his eyebrows, and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature around with him.
Once upon a time, on the day before Christmas, Scrooge sat working in his office. It was only the afternoon, but outside the freezing, foggy day was already dark. There was a bucket of coal and a small fire near Scrooge's desk. An even smaller fire near the desk of his clerk, Bob Cratchit, who sat in his cold corner copying letters. But whenever he tried to take a piece of coal or two to warm his fire,
Get back to work.
so the clerk had to warm himself at his candle. But having little imagination, he failed.
Not even the appearance of Scrooge's tearful nephew Fred could warm up the gloomy office. A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah, humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean it.
I do. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
What right do you have to be so dismal? You're rich enough.
Humbug. I live in a world of fools. Merry Christmas. What's Christmas to you but a time for paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older but not an hour richer? Ha! If I had my way, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips would be roasted with his own turkey and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Nephew, you keep Christmas in your way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it? But you don't keep it.
Then let me alone then. Much good may it do you. Much good it has ever done you.
I've always thought of Christmas, Uncle, as a good time. As a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time of the year where men and women open their hearts to one another and realize that we are all passengers to the grave, not a race of strangers traveling separate journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good. And will do me good, and I say, God bless it.
And God bless you, sir. God bless you indeed.
Another word from you, and you'll kill Christmas by losing your employment. As for you, you're quite the speaker, sir. You should go into politics.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come and have Christmas dinner with us tomorrow.
Good afternoon, nephew.
But why? Why?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love. Good afternoon.
I ask nothing of you. I want nothing from you. Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry to find you so stubborn, Uncle, but it's Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas spirit to the last. A Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
Bring a torch and let Isabella bring a torch to the cradle run. It is Jesus, good folk of the village, Christ is born, and Mary's calling, ah, ah, beautiful is the mother, ah, ah, beautiful is her son. For the children, for the poor,
For the poor and children.
for the poor,
Give the poor Christmas. For the poor and children.
for the poor,
Give the children.
for the poor.
Merry Christmas, ladies.
Merry Christmas. Pleased to meet you.
And a Happy New Year.
Scrooge and Marley,
Yes, you're speaking
have
to...
we the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge?
Yes,
Oh,
he's...
Mr. Marley.
Mr. Marley's dead. He died 7 years ago this very night.
Oh, our condolences.
But we're sure you're as generous a man as he was.
Exactly.
At this festive season of the year, we try to make provision for the poor and the destitute.
You suffer greatly at the present time.
We are sure you would like to make some contribution. However slight.
What may I put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to remain anonymous.
I wish to be left alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas time, and I can't afford to make idle people merry.
Make people merry? Sir, there are hundreds of thousands without the basic necessities.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
Then those that are badly off must go there.
But they haven't done anything wrong.
Some would rather die first.
If they'd rather die, they'd better do it, and decrease the surplus population.
Oh,
I don't think we need to take up any more time.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, thank you, sir.
The afternoon dragged on, and as the light began to fade, it became yet colder and foggier. At length, the hour for shutting up the counting house arrived.
You want tomorrow off, I suppose?
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I were to take a day's wages out of your pay this week, you'd find yourself ill-used out and about.
But, sir, I hardly
You
think...
don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It's only once a year, sir.
Yeah, it's a poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. Well, take it, but be here all the earlier the next morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I promise.
Humbug! Scrooge took his melancholy dinner at his usual melancholy tavern, morosely read all the newspapers, spent the evening mulling over his bank books, and finally started home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner, a gloomy suite of rooms in a grimy pile of a building, an old, moldering house nobody lived in but Scrooge.
Now, it is a fact that there is nothing at all peculiar about the knocker on Scrooge's door, except that it's very large. It is also a fact that Ebenezer Scrooge has as little of what is called imagination as any man in the city of London, including members of government. So, let any man explain, if he can, how it happened that Ebenezer Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw in the knocker...
Marley's face! The eyes wide open, perfectly motionless, staring at Scrooge. Marley?
Marley's face. It was not angry or ferocious, but looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with ghostly spectacles turned up on its ghostly forehead. And then, it was a door knocker again.
Bah, humbug. Scrooge put his hand upon the key, turned it sturdily, and walked into his house, stopping to light a candle before he climbed the stairs. The candle gave a feeble glow. Scrooge cared not a button for that. Darkness was cheap, and Scrooge liked it. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nothing under the bed but my old slippers. Nothing behind the bed curtains. Tried to poke her up the chimney. Nothing but soot. Windows all locked. Scrooge was content. Until his glance fell upon the ancient bell cord that communicated with the long empty attic, where as he watched, it began to move of its own accord. Can't be happening. I don't believe it. Then he heard another sound, coming closer and closer. Ah! Ah!
The ghost of Jacob Marley appeared. It looked like it was Marley. His face, his pigtail, waistcoat, boots. A chain wound around him like a tail, made of cash boxes, keys, ledgers, deeds, padlocks, and heavy purses rot in steel.
A chain of cash boxes.
Scrooge! I wear the chains I forged in life. I made it, link by link.
What do you want?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who are you then?
In life, I was your business partner, Jacob Marley.
Ah!
You don't believe me?
I don't.
Why do you doubt your
The
senses?
little thing affects them. Slight disorder of the stomach. Maybe an undigested bit of beef. A fragment of an underdone potato. More gravy than the grave about you, whatever you are. Then the spirit took a bandage from around his head and let his lower jaw drop to his chest. Mercy, dreadful apparition, why do you walk the earth and come to me?
Every man's spirit must walk among his fellow men. If his spirit does not go forth in life, it must go forth in death. I am condemned to wander the earth, doomed to witness what I can no longer share, but might once have shared, and turn to happiness.
Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have no comfort. Ebenezer Scrooge, I cannot stay, I cannot rest, I cannot linger anywhere. Ebenezer Scrooge, mark me! In life, my spirit never walked beyond our money-changing hole. Now, weary journeys lie before me. Oh, captive, bound in double iron Scrooge, I was once like you. I was blind like you.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business! Mankind, charity, mercy, benevolence, all should have been my business.
Don't be hard on me, Jacob.
I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. You will be visited by 3 spirits.
Is that the hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first, tomorrow night when the bell tolls 1.
But couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Expect the second, tomorrow night at the same hour. And the third, on the next night, when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to sound. Look to see me no more, and look that for your own sake you remember what has passed between us.
When Marley faded into mist, or mist enshrouded him, Scrooge could not tell.
Marley was sucked up into a nightslide, chained and riding phantoms.
Their piteous cries faded, and Scrooge found himself alone. Whether it was from the emotion he had just undergone, or the fatigues of the day, he was much in need of sleep. Scrooge went straight to bed, without undressing, and fell asleep before he could say, "Oh." Scrooge awoke.
Before him stood a strange figure, part child, part old woman. Its hair hung long down its back, white with age, but its young face had not a wrinkle on it.
It shimmered in its own light and melted and dissolved into many faces, many arms, many legs, as if the spirit were many spirits, yet only one.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past,
Long past?
your past,
What brings you here?
your welfare,
That's very thoughtful of you. Of course, a night of unbroken sleep might have benefited
your
my well.
reclamation then. The things that you will see with me are shadows of the things that have been. Rise and walk with me out into the night sky.
Please, spirit. I am only a man. I will fall.
Touch my robe, and you shall be upheld in more things than this.
The city entirely vanished. The darkness and mist vanished with it.
It was a cold, clear, wintry day with snow upon the ground. They stood upon an open country road with fields on either side.
Good heavens! I was raised in this place.
You remember
I was a
this
boy
day?
here. Yet remember it, I could walk it blindfolded.
They walked along the road, Scrooge recognizing every gate post and tree, until a little market town appeared in the distance, with its bridge, its church, its winding river. Then they saw children playing in the field, running home from school on Christmas Eve.
Hello, it's Samuel and little Nell and Elizabeth. Oh.
These are but shadows of things that have been. They are not aware of you. What is that upon your cheek?
It's only a pimple.
Then they stood in the country schoolhouse, happily deserted by its inhabitants on Christmas Eve.
But not quite deserted. Scrooge saw himself as a boy, alone, neglected by his schoolmates, reading by a feeble fire.
16 men on a dead man's chest. Yo ho ho! And a bottle of rum.
A man with a peg leg, an eye patch, and a broadsword. It's Long John Silver.
I, matey, Long John Silver himself, in the flesh, me lad.
Long John's parrot.
Timber me, timber!
Guns dragging the treasure chest.
I've got the treasure, Captain Silver.
You do you? Well, it's all my treasure, see? All mine! Long John Silver's!
I'll guard it with me life, I will, you dog!
Call me a dog, will you scurvy native Bilsman? Draw your sword!
True spirit. There was one Christmas when my only friends were my books.
More than one, I think. The years passed before Scrooge's eyes. The room they were in became darker and more dirty. The panels shrank, the windows cracked. Fragments of plaster fell out of the ceiling, revealing naked laths. The young Scrooge remained, growing larger, more sullen, finally casting aside his books as the lonely Christmases paraded on.
Enough, spirits. Enough!
Then let us see Christmas in another place. Do you know where we are?
Norwich! I was apprenticed in this warehouse. What is Fezziwig? Bless his heart, it's old Fezziwig alive again!
7 o'clock! Ebenezer! Dick!
Yes, sir. Dick Wilkins, to be sure. He was very attached to me, was Dick.
No more work tonight. It's Christmas Eve. Now, clear away, my lads. Let's have lots of room. Clear away.
Hold up the books. Light the lamp.
Clear the tables!
Sweep the floor.
Hang mistletoe!
Fuel the fire.
Bring on the food!
In came a fiddler.
A piper!
A drum
came the two Miss Fezziwigs, beaming and lovable.
In came the young men,
Boys
whose hearts they broke. In came all the young men,
and women
employed in the business.
In came the household maid.
The baker,
The cook.
In came the cook friend, the milkman.
And the fiddler was about to strike up his favorite tune, an old Fezziwig dance,
Yes, beaming Mrs. Fezziwig.
to welcome Christmas Eve. And they all dance as no one has ever danced before. More dances and games. More dancing. More dancing. And more and more and more. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Merry Christmas,
Fezziwig was a fine man.
Fezziwig spent but a pittance of your mortal money to make these folks happy and full of gratitude. A trivial matter.
Trivial? The power to make us happy or unhappy, to make our work light or burdensome, to make toil a pleasure? Trivial? Kind looks, fond words. The happiness he gave us was quite as great as if it cost a fortune. I wish.
For what do you wish?
I'd like to say a word or two to my clerk, Bob Cratchit, right now.
Time grows short. Look,
Oh, no.
Scrooge turned to see the vision of a young woman with tears in her eyes.
Not that Christmas spirit, please!
Ebenezer, another idol has displaced me in your heart. But I will not grieve if it can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have tried to do.
What idol has displaced you in my heart?
A golden idol.
This is the world. There is nothing so hard as poverty.
You fear the world too much. You are changed. You have changed. I have watched you. I have watched greed envelop you.
I am not changed in my feelings towards you.
Our marriage contract is an old one. You are changed. When our marriage contract was made, you were another man.
I was a boy.
A boy who made my love his highest value. I can give you no wealth except love. Would you start again? Would you choose me again? I release you from your promise of marriage. May you be happy in the life you have chosen. Always remember that once I loved you.
Spirit, remove me from my past. I cannot bear it.
To be lonely, it is a terrible thing to bear.
The ghost had vanished. His visions were no more. Scrooge was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by irresistible drowsiness, and further of being alone in his own bedroom. He reeled to bed and sank into a heavy sleep.
Scrooge awoke to see his fireplace blazing with light, his room transformed. The walls and ceiling were hung with greens and berries, mistletoe and ivy. The floor was heaped with turkey, plum puddings, Christmas cakes, luscious fruits, and huge bowls of steaming punch.
And above all, seated on a throne, dressed in green, her head wreathed in holly, her eyes sparkling, her laugh bright, was a huge giant, glorious to see.
Arise, and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. look upon me.
Spirit, I went forth last night by compulsion, and I learned a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have anything to teach me, I will profit by it. Conduct me where you will.
Touch my robe.
As he did so, Scrooge closed his eyes. When he opened them a moment later,
He stood on the city streets on Christmas morning.
the house fronts looked black enough, and the windows blacker, contrasting with the smooth white sheet of snow upon the ground. The sky was gloomy, and even the shortest of streets was clogged with a dingy mist. There was nothing very cheerful in the climate or the town.
And yet there was an air of cheerfulness abroad that reminded one of the brightest and clearest of summer days.
The people of the city were out and about, shoveling snow, scurrying out to shop, exchanging greetings, compliments, and playful snowballs.
And the Wolford shops were still half open, and the fruiterers were radiant in their glory.
There were great, round, pot-bellied baskets of chestnuts, shaped like the waistcoats of jolly old gentlemen.
There were ruddy, brown-faced, broad-growth Spanish onions, shining in the fitness of their growth like Spanish friars.
And winking from their shelves in wanton slyness at the girls as they went by.
Glancing demurely at the hung-up mistletoe. There were pears and apples clustered high in pyramids.
And grapes made by the shopkeeper's benevolence to dangle from conspicuous hooks that people's mouths might water for free as they passed.
And the customers were also hurried and eager in the hopeful promise of the day
That they tumbled up against each other at the door,
clashing their wicker baskets wildly,
leaving their purchases upon the counter.
running back to fetch them.
and committing hundreds of like mistakes in the best humor possible.
As soon as the steeples called good people all to church and chapel, and away they came flocking through the streets in their best clothes and their gayest faces.
Spirit, what is the house at the end of the street? The small house? What draws me there?
That is the home of your clerk, Bob Cratchit.
Is it?
And there, Mrs. Cratchit, in a ragged dress but braid in ribbons, was setting the table for Christmas dinner,
while his daughter Belinda was preparing Christmas goose.
And young Master William Cratchit was stirring a bubbling pot of potatoes.
Plenty of potatoes, but that goose is barely big enough for a snack.
Oh, look, here's your father home from church with Tiny Tim.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Tiny Tim.
Merry Christmas, my son. Merry Christmas, everyone. How did our Tiny Tim behave?
Oh, as good as gold, and better. He told me coming home from church that he hoped people saw him because he is a cripple.
It might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who it was made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
He's such a good lad.
William hoisted Tiny Tim on his shoulders. Come on, Tim, let's play horsey.
Riding on a course
To Banbury Cross to see Tiny Tim upon a white horse. Rings on his fingers and bells on his toes. He shall have music wherever he goes.
The child is dying. Can't they see that?
And now it was time for Christmas dinner.
Mrs. Cratchit made the gravy hissing hot.
William mashed the potatoes with vigor.
Miss Belinda sweetened the applesauce.
Bob compounded a hot mixture in a jug with gin and lemons and stirred it over the simmering fire.
Tiny Tim dusted the hot plate.
The potatoes were mashed.
The mixture was hot.
The gravy was ready.
The applesauce was perfect.
And the goose was carried to the table in high procession.
It is the greatest success achieved by Mrs. Cratchit since our marriage. The goose was devoured, the pudding eaten, the hot mixture served, and there was never a happier family on Christmas. Merry Christmas to us all, my dears.
God bless us. God bless us, every one.
A toast to Mr. Scrooge. Come now, everyone. To Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
Founder, I wish your Mr. Scrooge were here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and hope he had a good appetite for it.
Hush, my dear. This is Christmas. toast.
I'll drink his health for the sake of Christmas, and for your sake, not for his. Long life to him.
Long life to Mr. Scrooge.
You'll be very merry and happy, I suppose.
God rest ye merry
Gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
This was not a rich family. They were not well dressed. Their clothes were scanty. And although no one said it, they all knew how small the goose was. But they could laugh because they were happy, grateful, pleased with one another, and contented with the time. Especially Tiny Tim. Merry Christmas, Tiny Tim.
Merry Christmas, Father.
Spirit, will Tiny Tim live?
I see a vacant seat in the chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, no. O kind Spirit, say he will be spared.
And what then? If he is destined to die, he might as well do it and decrease the surplus population. But come, Ebenezer Scrooge, there are other places than this to visit on a fine Christmas morn.
Scrooge suddenly found himself in the house of his nephew Fred. He celebrated Christmas with his wife and friends.
And then he said that Christmas was a humbug. As I live, he meant it too.
Who did?
Uncle Scrooge.
A bit more shame for him.
He's a comical old man. He's not as pleasant as he could be, I suppose, but his unpleasantness carries its own punishment. I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he's very rich.
What of it? He does no good with his money. He won't make himself comfortable with it.
I have no patience with him.
Nor I.
Nor I.
I intend to be very patient. He can rail at Christmas until he dies. But he'll think better of it when he finds me going there year after year, in good humor, saying, "Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge, won't you come to dinner?" Even if it only puts him in the mood to give his poor clerk 50 pounds, at least that's something.
Well, I, for one, am pleased he didn't accept your invitation for dinner.
Well, he doesn't miss much of a dinner.
I think he missed an excellent dinner.
So do I.
So do I.
So do I.
Enough of this talking. It's time to play a game.
Oh, perfect. A game for Christmas afternoon.
It is time, Ebenezer, come.
Spirit, a game. Let me stay for this. Just one game. Please, kind Spirit.
I'm thinking of something. You guess what it is.
Give us a hint.
All right.
Animal?
Yes.
Alive.
Yes.
Friendly?
No.
Savage?
Yes.
Does it roar?
No, it growls and grunts.
From Africa?
No.
India.
London.
In the zoo?
It walks the streets.
A cow.
No.
A bull?
No.
A dog?
A dog?
I said it first.
No.
Pig?
Tiger.
No.
Bear?
No. No.
Well then what?
You give up?
I know.
What?
Uncle Scrooge.
Yes, well, there you are. The old gentleman had made us merry, and we would be ungrateful not to drink to his health. I say to Uncle Scrooge.
To Uncle Scrooge. To you, Fred.
A Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the old man, wherever he is.
I'm here. Scrooge is here. Clock continued to strike. Scrooge looked about him for the ghost and saw it not. As the bell ceased to vibrate, the last phantom slowly, gravely silently approached. Shrouded in the deep black garment that concealed its head, its face, its form, and left nothing visible save one outstretched pointing hand. Am I in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come? Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I have been, I will bear your company with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? Lead on, the night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me, I know. At once they were in the heart of the city, amongst the men of business who hurried up and down and chinked their money in their pockets and chatted in groups all as Scrooge had seen it before.
A great fat man with an enormous chin stopped and spoke
To another great fat man with a pendulous excrescence on the end of his nose.
No, I don't know much about it. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I suppose.
Of what?
Who knows?
What's he done with his money?
Buried it with him, I guess. Didn't leave it to me.
So, it's dead.
So they say.
It's likely to be a very cheap funeral. Shall we go?
No, I wouldn't mind them. If there's lunch provided.
Not exact.
Cold, isn't it?
Not for Christmas. Good morning.
Good morning.
Spirit, why do you show me this? Are they talking about Marley's death? But that was in the past. I don't see myself among these men. Spirit, does that mean that I will change, that I will learn to avoid these unfeeling men of business? Why do you bring me to this part of the city?
Where the alleys are like cesspools disgorging their fences of smells, dirt, and life.
Where the ways are narrow and foul, the people half naked, drunken, slipshod.
The shop of the pawnbroker.
A low-ceilinged, sagging shop where iron, old rags, bottles, bones, and greasy offal are bought and sold.
Let the charwoman go first, the laundress second, the undertaker's man third. What have you got to sell me, grave robbers?
No such thing. Everyone has a right to take care of themselves. He always did. He wanted his things properly cared for after he was dead. Why didn't he act natural in life? And then he might have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death instead of gasping his last and lying all alone.
True. He had judgment upon himself.
What have you got?
2 sleeve buttons and a brooch.
Not much value there. You?
Clothes, slippers, a pair of boots.
I always pay the ladies too much. You?
I got bed curtains.
You don't mean to say you took them down with him lying right there, do you?
Take your hands off them blankets!
Is blankets?
Why not? He won't be catching a cold without them.
Didn't die of anything catching, did he?
Never you fear. Would we have hung about him if he did? Besides, if I had to take in this blanket, they was gonna waste it.
Waste it?
They was gonna bury him in it.
Well, that's his reward. He frightened everyone away when he was alive to profit me when he was dead.
Spirit, I see. The case of this wretched man might be like my own. Scrooge stood before a bare, uncurtained bed. Beneath a ragged sheet there lay something covered, which though silent announced itself in awful language. Beneath the sheet lay the plundered body of a man, bereft, unwept, uncared for. You point to the head of his plundered corpse. I cannot lift the sheet and look. Spirit, let me leave this fearful place. I will not forget its lesson. Believe me, let us go. I understand, and I would look on this dead face if I could, but I cannot, Spirit. I have not the power. If there is even one person alive who feels any emotion caused by this man's death, show me that person, Spirit, I beseech you.
Drink and be merry on this his final day. Come join me in drink, and the debts I shall not have to pay. 20 pounds I owe the old boy. 20 pounds. He was going to chuck me in prison, he was. Me having only half of it. But instead, he up and died. Died dead, he did. So now, instead of paying him, I'm going to drink to his death. And long may he stay dead. The old boy is dead. He'll rot in bed. Come drink and be merry on this his final day.
Suddenly, Scrooge stood again in Bob Cratchit's house. It was so quiet. So very, very quiet.
The family was silent around the fire.
William sat reading a book, and he took a child, and he took them and placed him in the midst of them.
It's past time for your father to be home.
Walks more slowly than he usually does this past evening.
I have known him to walk very fast with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders. Very fast indeed.
So have I.
So have I. But he was light to carry, and your father loved him so that it was no trouble.
Good evening, everyone.
Robert, you went today.
I promised I would walk there every Sunday. I wish you would have come with me. It would have done you good. See how great a place it is. My little child. My little child.
Spirit, who is the man lying dead beneath the sheets? They're in a graveyard. Here Scrooge knew the wretched man whose name he had to learn lay underneath the ground. It was a worthy place, walled in by houses, overrun by grass and weeds. The growth of vegetation's death, not life. Choked up with too much burying, fat with repleted appetite. A worthy place. Yes, I see the gravestone to which you point, but answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that only might be? Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends, but if the courses change, the end can change. Say thus to what you show me. Yes, I will read the gravestone. Oh. It's Ebenezer Scrooge. Am I that lonely man that lay upon the bed? No, Spirit, no. Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. I will not be the man you have shown me. Why would you show me this if I am past hope? Now, Spirit, do not leave me yet. Pity me, intercede for me. I will change these shadows. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. I will not shut out the lessons all three teach me. Only say that I may rub away the writing on this stone. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and Christmas be praised for this. I say it on my knees, oh Jacob, on my knees. The bed curtains, they're here, they're not torn down. The shadow of things that might have been may yet be dispelled. And there's my blanket. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm light as a feather, happy as an angel, merry as a schoolboy. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Oh, I'm laughing. I've been out of practice for so many years. It's a splendid laugh. It's the father of a long line of brilliant laughs. That's where the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. And there's where the ghost of Christmas present stood. And there's the window where I saw the spirits. It's all real, it's all true, it really happened. Oh. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what month. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Hello? What's today?
What's today? Today's Christmas.
Then I haven't missed it. The spirits did it all in one night. Well, of course they can. They're spirits. Hello, girl.
Yes, sir?
Do you know the poultry shop down the street?
Yes, sir. It's down the street.
Intelligent lass. Do you know if they sold the prize turkey that was in the window? Not the little prize turkey, the big one.
The one as big as me?
What a delightful child. Yes, that's the one.
It's still there.
Is it? Then go and buy it. Tell them to bring it here and I'll tell them where to take it. Be back in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown.
Yes, sir.
That turkey is twice the size of Tiny Tim. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He'll never know where it came from.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Here it is, sir. As big a turkey as ever walked on 4 legs.
Take it to Bob Cratchit's house in Camden Town. It's too far to walk. Here, take a cab. And that's for you, lass.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Then Scrooge dressed in his best clothes. And having done so, he went out into the street to walk among his fellow human beings. There he saw the 3 women who had come to his office the day before collecting for the poor. My dear ladies, a Merry Christmas to you! I hope you were very successful yesterday. That is my name, although I fear it may not be very pleasant to you. I would like to speak to you about a contribution. Would you be prepared to accept, though shall we say,
Are you serious?
not 1 penny less? It includes a great many back payments of understanding.
Mr. Scrooge, thank you.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you 50 times. Bless you.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Scrooge spent the day walking the Christmas streets, watching the people hurrying to and fro, patting children on the head, chatting to beggars, looking down into the kitchens of houses and up into the windows and finding that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house.
Then he said that Christmas was a humbug. As I live, he meant it too.
Who did?
Uncle Scrooge.
A bit more shame for him.
Here, no more depressing talk at Christmas time.
I know what. Let's play another game.
Another game! What game shall we play?
Let's play Invite the Uncle to Christmas.
Well, bless my soul. It's Uncle Scrooge.
Ah, it is indeed Uncle Scrooge. And will you invite me to dinner, Fred?
Well, welcome, Uncle.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings to you wherever you are. Glad tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The next morning, Scrooge was early to work. He he had his heart set on catching Bob Cratchit coming in late. And he did. The clock struck 9. No Cratchit. A quarter past. No Cratchit at all.
Not until 18.5 minutes past the hour did Cratchit appear.
Mr. Cratchit, what do you mean by coming in this late?
I'm very sorry, sir.
Sorry? What good is that to me? What about my 18.5 minutes?
It's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Merry? Humbug! Mr. Cratchit, put down that pen and come here. I shall not stand for this sort of thing any longer.
No, sir.
And therefore, I am going to raise your salary. Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, my good fellow, than I've given you in many a year. I'll raise your salary and I shall endeavor to assist your struggling family. Now, before you dot another I, light the fire and join me in a glass of rum. A Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas?
And a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was his second father. He was as good a friend, as good a master, as good a man as the good old city ever knew. And in his heart, Ebenezer Scrooge laughed. It was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man did. May that truly be said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us, everyone.
a Merry Christmas and a peaceful New Year.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings to you, wherever you dreams for Christmas and a Happy New